All right, we got Felix, also known as PewDiePie. I don't know if he even still does that, but he's doing some book reviews, and I thought this was really cool. This comes from the Discord, man. Shout out to Requiem Vanguard. He sent this in, and I didn't even know PewDiePie was diving into the world of more knowledge, but it wouldn't be surprising as this man has basically completed a lot of things in the material world. It makes sense that he would expand his mind, learning and understanding what it is to be human. I also ended up shouting out PewDiePie in my own book. So here's just a screen cap of my book. If you want to read it real quick, it'll be coming out really soon. Like, it's done. I've already revised it. I just need to get it into publishing, and I'm also waiting on some art from Snook. Shout out to Snook. They've been making all this amazing art. Even the art you see back here, this was made by Snook. So I'm waiting on Snooky to get the cover, and then we'll start putting it together. But here is Felix explaining some of the books that he's learned. We're not going to go through the entire video. We're just going to break it down. And if anything, I just want to analyze where Felix is at when it comes to a human level. I love talking about humanity. Talked about it last night at my Christmas party. You should have been there. Maybe next year we'll get some cameras to do it live or something. It was really fun. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this started. Giving you guys a chance.
Talked about this book so much because it's an incredible book. I hate using the word awakening for lack of a better one, and that's all I'm going to use because it really was an awakening experience for me to read this book.
Because the word awakening has connotations that some people don't deem to be beneficial, or they see it as bullshit, for lack of a better word. But everything is a perspective. So if you go into something thinking it's not going to work, well, surprise, it didn't work because you didn't think it was going to work.
Examine myself in such a way, and it's funny, the book seems almost aware of this itself, where most of us throughout our lives go through our days, and maybe in our entire existence, for many
his music choice.
As Buddhism
Felix, your music choice is great.
We're drawn to sensational pleasures, we're drawn to all these distractions without fully examining our lives and our purpose and what we're doing. And when you read it, you get that understanding, and you look at yourself, obviously. First you look at yourself, but then you look at the whole world, and you realize you want everyone to sort of stop and go, no, wait, let's, what are we doing here? Let's rethink this. What is our purpose? Come on. To me, there's just something so tragic about living your life without examining it. It taught me so much about sensational pleasure, especially. I'm Mr. Dopamine, okay? I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, but there's almost this romanticized idea of a sad man at a bar, hunched over with a drink. There's something cool about it, smoking a cigar. These things are not cool. That's sad. All of that is sad, and not a sad in that wow, so sad kind of way. Just bad. Don't romanticize these things, you know what I mean? Being drawn to these sensational pleasures, you can free yourself completely from them. I'm speaking way more about...
Absolutely. You could free yourself from external pleasures, but every single human on this world has their own vices, whether it's cigarettes, social media, sex, or making YouTube videos, right? Everybody copes with existence in their own particular way. Maybe it's video games, maybe it's going outside, maybe it's sports, maybe it's shooting guns, right? Everybody has something that is tying them to the physical world. And I would say living in the physical world is not bad or good. It just is. That is what it is to live life. And some people, it's cigars. Some people, it's alcohol. Too much of anything is bad, regardless if it's good or bad, because it's all subjective.
This than I thought I would, but here we are. You are just binding yourself to different things that you don't need, and by uprooting these issues, you'll completely be free from them. I used to think about drinking alcohol every single day. Now it has zero control over me. There's so much in Buddhism that ties into what we're going to go into later as well. But moving on, January, February, March.
Yeah, I think it also depends on the type of Buddhism that you go to. So me personally, I learned the first Buddhism sect that I learned was the Nichiren Daishonin Buddhism, the ones that go Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, right? The Lotus Sutra. And basically, to make it super quick and simple, so this section of Buddhism focuses on more of the Bodhisattva. The Bodhisattva would be me or anybody else that spreads the idea of the Lotus Sutra, which of course would be part of converting people, right? Whenever you're trying to get them to understand a different perspective of life, it can be seen as conversion or anything like that. But again, these words that I'm using can be perceived as a negative thing, when at the end of the day, everything that you guys learn in life is all going to be however you view it. So you can view anything to be good or bad depending on who you are. And I have deep conversations like this all the time. So for me, it's nothing new. For somebody watching this for the first time, it definitely can be mind blowing and it can be thought provoking. And I think at the end of the day, whatever you learn from me or you learn from Felix in this video, it's okay to learn about it. It's just how you decide to practice it, right? Whether it's journaling, meditation, or finding a friend and talking about it, which is like the harder part. But you got to try and find somebody to bounce these ideas off of. But yeah, definitely, Buddhism and other faiths can lead you to a higher purpose, or just understanding who you are on what your purpose is. And everybody has a different purpose.
March, you can pick whatever you want. I think every third month I will let you guys decide. I think the point of reading is not just to blindly follow what someone laid in front of you. It's about finding your own curiosities. Okay, you read this.
I agree with this.
I'm interested in maybe expanding on this or reading something different. Maybe I hated it and this is not for me. That's part of your own discovery. I will announce which books I will read, but I see them sort of outside of the list. They might be maybe too advanced for some of you. Sounds so demeaning. Like
no, and it's true, because not every book is for everybody. Just like not every piece of music is for everybody, right? What music do you listen to? Leave it in the comments below. It's probably not going to be the same as somebody else that left a comment, right? It's all subjective and it's all about personal taste. And when it comes to reading books or watching movies or whatever, yes, there are going to be different levels to everything.
You dummies! I'm gonna read. Maybe I'll do
not the gunshot.
Meditations of First Philosophy by René Descartes. I never read René. There's a couple meditations of.
That's René Descartes. René Descartes is it's basically the father of modern day philosophy. Or psychology, sorry.
Philosophy by René Descartes.
But yeah, philosophy, psychology.
René. There's a couple philosophers that I just never touched, and
René Descartes.
I just feel like I should read them. So that's what I picked for March. Moving on with the book list, January, February.
That's interesting. To read René Descartes, I feel like that is something that is more on the upper levels. To recommend René Descartes is something else, Felix. Like, I got to see the comment section in, like, I got to see I got to see the new demographic of PewDiePie, right? Let me know who is watching PewDiePie that has been watching since Amnesia. Okay, I was watching during Amnesia. You guys remember what's his name? The little guy. I can't remember his name. I can't remember his name. The character. Y'all remember? Leave him in the comment section below. Y'all know who I'm talking about. The little figure guy.
I don't know the months unless I count them in order. Another book I've talked about so much. We're going to read Epictetus.
Epictetus is a good
selected writings. If you for some reason haven't read this with the amount of yapping I've done about this book, you gotta do it now. I think if I had to pick one book out of all of these, one book to rule them all, I would pick The Enchiridion. Literally means handbook. It is the handbook of Stoicism. It is the simplest way to ever explain Stoicism. People mostly associate Stoicism with Marcus Aurelius or maybe Seneca.
Yes, a lot.
And Aurelius obviously is an incredible story. I think his life is more interesting, and obviously he talks about Stoicism, which is amazing.
Fun fact, this guy, Marcus Aurelius, right, the father of Stoicism, as they say, he actually didn't want his stuff to be published. Like his story, his book was never supposed to be a book. It was all just a journal, a personal journal. He is one of the few philosopher kings, right? He was ruling a kingdom and protecting his kingdom. And every time people were like, oh, why are you so calm? Whatever. It's like he was doing his life and then he just wrote it down in a journal. And then somebody found it and they were like, oh, let's make this a book.
Amazing. And he lived Stoicism, which is amazing. But just take the Enchiridion. It puts it so beautifully and so simply. And I think everyone can benefit from these ideas. They are similar to Buddhism in the sense of it's in a way of avoiding suffering. I've been very fortunate.
Not avoiding suffering, accepting suffering is what it is, and then moving beyond that. But yes, some people would love to avoid suffering, which is why we have everything, right? We have video games, we have technology, we have these things that distract us from suffering, right? You making this video distracts you from your mortal being of suffering. You watching this video might just be you watching the video, right? Because maybe you don't even see life as suffering, or maybe you don't acknowledge life to be sufferable, which would be really good because life in itself is just a life. And the suffering part is just everything else that comes with it. My perspective,
and
by the way.
There hasn't been much times where I even feel like I need stoicism, but reading stoicism, it almost feels like I put on this armor. Like I'm ready for anything. Whatever life is going to give me, I'll be ready for it. And that's how stoicism changes your perspective. Instead of fearing misfortune, you sort of look at it as, this gives me a chance to show my virtue. I remember
that is legitimately stoicism. What he just said is legitimately that.
There's a book I read about an American soldier that crashed his plane over Vietnam during the war. And he had started stoicism. And as he was shot down and falling in his parachute, he thought to himself, this is my chance to practice what I've learned from stoicism, because he knew how they would torture soldiers, and they did. Okay, I'm gonna have to speed up because it's gonna nap soon. Next up, we have.
Let me see what you got next, brother. Let me see.
Plato.
The Republic. Oh man, yeah. Felix has definitely been diving through some. Like I also recently have gone through the Republic. I haven't finished it. There's an audio book on YouTube. It's like 7 hours long of every single piece of the Republic and whatever else Plato has created, man. It is absolutely insane. I will say like the first hour and a half is some of the greatest stuff. And then later on, it's just like, holy crap, man. This is like the conversations and the ramblings of somebody that is like very, very in their being, right? And you have to like basically put yourself outside of yourself to really absorb everything that is in this book, man. It is insane.
The Republic. If you think I've yapped a lot about Epictetus, I've actually realized I yapped way more about Plato's Republic. I love. I made a 40-minute video talking about this book. I love it so much. I think it is also a really good introduction to philosophy because it covers so many areas. The whole premise of the book is Socrates is discussing with Glaucon. They're trying to find the definition of justice. Since it's something that they're trying to discover together, it makes you feel part of this philosophical discussion. Like,
yes, they go back and forth.
Transported into this the same room as the greatest mind of all time, and you get to experience and join this discussion. What other medium could do that but literature? It's just so incredible.
Yes, it takes a lot of it, and that's why it's interesting that he said like this is a good beginner book. Like, bro, no, this book is definitely very, very challenging. At least like comparatively to a lot of the other books that I've just seen recently, this one, for me, in my opinion, my perspective, this book that he is talking about is pretty difficult, but it is very interesting. So if anybody is willing to take on the challenge of the Republic, I'd say go for it.
I feel so fortunate to even be reading this book. It examines the human soul, but then goes into a macro level, and they try and examine, okay, so to answer this question, we need to examine what is the ideal way of running a society. Yeah, it goes into all these amazing and interesting ideas. Some are a little bit weird, actually, now I think about it. I feel like I shouldn't say I enjoyed this book too much.
Outside perspective, yes.
Big disclaimer. I do not agree with every single idea that this author has.
Yes.
A necessary 2019 disclosure, everyone.
I think that's a necessary disclosure in general. Like, if you love something, you should definitely say you don't agree with all of it if you know for a fact there is some controversial shit in there.
And then in the end, it ties it all together in this beautiful depiction of the afterlife and rebirth, kind of like Buddhism as well, and what sort of life they want to live. And it answers that question in the end. And I just think about it all the time. I absolutely love it. It's an amazing book. I'm just so excited for you guys. Genuinely.
No, he's really putting you on game.
Anyway,
he's putting you on game.
I'm gonna read Kant.
Oh, now you will Kant, huh?
I feel like I have to read Kant. I tried a while ago. I think I got a third in, and I stopped for whatever reason. It is extremely dense literature. Like, I do not necessarily recommend casual readers to pick this one up. I read a bit about Kant, and I find him to be more interesting than his work. He was just mega autistic. He's basically Sheldon Cooper, which makes for a lot of interesting and sort of silly things about his life. He had the famous philosopher walk every day at the exact same time, but he refused to speak to anyone. So if anyone tried to, he didn't want his lips to open because that would constitute as talking. So he would resort to making noises with his mouth like, It's just, I don't know.
Which is good. Honestly, I think more humans should actually participate in this. Like we only created language later on, like as a species. Body language. And a lot of people don't understand body language because they just, yep. From here to here, yep. But what can you do in between? If we were in a quiet room, do you know what this means? Everybody knows what this means, right? Right? This is body language. It is very important. I think more people should practice body language.
Funny to me. I obviously know some ideas around him and his moral principles. They're quite famous. So I'm curious to read if his reasoning can sort of bring me over or not. I don't know.
Interjecting, I done a little bit more research about the books that I picked.
Okay.
Because obviously I haven't read them. And I think it might be a little difficult to do Kant in just a month. So I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll do 2 months.
He wants to read these.
Maybe I'll...
I thought these were books he read and he wants to share them.
I was trying to think the best way to do it. But then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to try my best. If I fail, that's okay. I can pick it up at some other time or keep going. So I'm just saying this, if you're deciding to read the same book, which I don't encourage, to be honest.
Yes,
but if you are,
that's
to be honest, I want you guys to pick your own interest. But yeah, just wanted to explain my reasoning.
Right. So next up, guess what? Another book I've talked about a ton. Aristotle, the Nicomachean.
Okay. Nicomachean ethics. Okay, that's cool. All right, definitely you guys should check out the rest of this. I'm just going to look at what other June, July, August. You say something in August? What is this? I'll check this out.
Free. Give it to me. I would love it. And then finally, you're free. December, I'm going to read.
Okay, Siddhartha Hermanus. Okay, cool. So more Buddhism. Okay, these are cool books. All right, these are definitely cool books. All right, yeah, this was a very interesting video. Felix, shout out to you. I appreciate you for being part of my childhood. And yes, definitely, I would advise people, if you want to start gaining knowledge, to start reading books. I would also advise like starting with easier books. So like, here's a book that I am personally reading currently, right? Becoming Supernatural, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Amazing book. Amazing book. Don't start with this book. I have an easier book. I don't have it in this room. I'll type it up for you guys. It's called Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King. It is an amazing book. I believe that if any, like, this is the book I started with. So it definitely is a bit biased. But I think this is a good book to start. You legitimately start with this, because if you don't want to start with philosophy, psychology, you don't want to start with something that's super outside, you can start with this book due to the fact that it is very simple. It is talking about good vibes. If you say good vibes to anybody can pick that up. What a vibe is, a good vibration. And it does talk about increasing your vibration, right? And you do these things, you can increase your vibration in many ways. A quick way to increase vibration would be eating healthy food. So eating an apple will increase your vibration because it's a high vibrational food. It's full of nutrients that increases your energy. And then you also do stuff like journaling. So a combination of journaling, eating healthy can help raise your vibration. In this journal, you see what it says. Today, anything is possible, right? I have hella notes, hella journals, hella ambitions, dreams. I even have some psychology in here, right? Having journals and writing stuff down helps increase the human aspect. Oh yeah, I have growth rings in here. So there's a bunch of cool stuff. So yeah, I definitely advise everybody on their journey of humanity. You should definitely start picking these things up. And the sooner, the better. And put down the social media. It is created by neuroscientists to make you addicted, right? And for me, saying that fact probably doesn't click in with you, but basically I'm saying you're addicted to social media because it was designed for you to be addicted. So in knowing that it is addictive, maybe put it down. You don't have to. I get it. A lot of businesses on there because it was made for you to be addicted. Okay. I hope you guys get it. And I hope you guys understand. Cool. That was a dope video. Definitely dope. It's cool to see PewDiePie. And definitely, let me read some of these comments. Dude became a father and now he's giving me homework. Bjorn, Dad, can you read me a bedtime story? Pew, sure. What? Epictetus. Okay, tips for reading okay, cool. There's some tips in here. Books mentioned. Okay, cool. Huh. This is the favorite series. Okay, cool. Books mention Uncommon Paths, The Wealth of Matrix Reloaded, Your Path to Riches, Cryptic Lore. Okay. 23 years old, started watching you when I was 10. Your book reviews are what sparked my interest in reading for fun and again. You could be more grateful with discourse and selecting. Writing played heavy part in my changes, my perspective in dealing with anxiety over the past few years. Absolutely. I would never have touched Stoicism if it weren't for you discussing it. Oh, that's interesting. Not even just reading, but exercising too. That's very good. I feel like it's because of your influence I'm able to work towards becoming a healthy version of myself, mind, and body. Absolutely. That's how influence works. I'm genuinely hyped to do this book club. I've always found myself searching up what books you've read so I can add them to my reading list, and I can't wait to do 20. Thank you, Pew. That was really cool. That's really, really cool comment. Yeah, so this young mind, this young adventurer, this young spirit, they're 23 years old, man. They're a junior and they started watching PewDiePie at 10. I think I started watching PewDiePie at 14, right? Now I'm 27. Yes, to see PewDiePie grow and develop just as a person as well, because it's not like PewDiePie is on some type of grand scale of humanity, right? He's another human being on his journey, on his path. I respect that. I also like how I've been able to watch and be influenced by him as well. I've also been influenced by PewDiePie when I was playing games and stuff like this. And I was watching him play Amnesia, or I was watching him play Happy Wheels, right? These things were very fun. I was very entertained by it. And then eventually I stopped watching. And then, I've been checking on him time to time to see what his life is like. And yeah, congratulations on becoming a father, Felix. Like that is a huge step in humanity, period. To have an offspring, oh man. Especially if it's your first one, right? Because you have the first one, the second one, third. Some people have 10. But your first one is like, supposedly that's the one. I don't know though. I don't have a kid. But you let me know what you guys think in the comments below about these books. Are any of these books interesting? If so, again, if you want to start, I would advise Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King. It's very easy. In a sense where you could just get a grasp of what it is to have a positive vibration, and then take that knowledge and you can go anywhere, honestly. It's not even almost. You could literally take from this book, you can go to many different paths. So yeah, this is cool. Very cool. I also check out books all the time, right? Books are life-changing, 100%. So yeah, shout out to Felix, shout out to NordVPN. Check out his sponsor in the link down below. And yeah, this was a cool video. Thank you, Rec Room Vanguard in the Discord. Link down below. Join the Discord, drop your videos, and I'll be checking them out. And until next time, it's your boy KhunShawn, signing out.